What is poppin' YouTube? Back again with another video. Today we're talking about 3 late round running back stashes that you need to be drafting in your fantasy football leagues. Let's go. The first player we're going to be talking about today is Tank Bigsby. Now, Tank Bigsby gets drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars in round 3 to back up Travis Etienne. Now, there's a bunch of people on Twitter, a bunch of people on YouTube that are saying that Tank Bigsby is going to be taking a significant chunk of Travis Etienne's work because Doug Peterson has said that he wants to use a running back by committee. I am one that is of the belief that if we look back even at the beginning of last season, we can see that Travis Etienne and James Robinson were both sharing the backfield. And when Travis Etienne was getting the majority of the work, he was a little bit inefficient. Now, I do not think that means that Tank Bigsby is going to come in and get 50% of the touches. I think Tank Bigsby is probably going to get in line between 35 and 40% of the actual touches in the backfield. Like we saw last season, Travis Etienne, towards the end of the last season, got a little bit banged up, like all running backs do. Tank Bigsby coming in, taking a little bit of that workload off Travis Etienne should be a big benefit to Travis Etienne. But in the case that Travis Etienne, something happens to Travis Etienne, the Jacksonville Jaguars offense is going to be so good that Tank Bigsby is someone that you have to be taking advantage of in these later rounds, especially in your underdog drafts. We're talking about him going at the 136th, 137th pick, which is a great flyer if you're going to be taking that late round shot at running back, especially when everyone's looking for the next Dameon Pierce. I'm not saying Tank Bigsby's Dameon Pierce. He is a priority handcuff that even if you don't have Travis Etienne and something happens, all of a sudden you have Tank Bigsby, who should then be a lock and loaded back end RB1, high end RB2 that you just got on the super cheap. My second player we're going to be talking about today is Kendre Miller, who got drafted to the New Orleans Saints, also in round 3. A lot of people in the dynasty community are super excited about Kendre Miller, but also us in the best ball and redraft community also need to be super excited about Kendre Miller because of this. We do not know what's happening with Alvin Kamara. A lot of people are just assuming because we haven't heard that there has been a suspension on Alvin Kamara that somehow Alvin Kamara is going to play. But even if Alvin Kamara is suspended, that doesn't even leave the door open for Kendre Miller because they signed Jamal Williams to that big deal. And we saw with the 20 touchdowns last season, Jamal Williams is an absolute fantasy darling. But why is this excited for me for Kendre Miller? Because I think even if Alvin Kamara is suspended, because this take is all predicated on the fact that we don't think Alvin Kamara is going to play all the games. And if Kendre Miller can step in and be a super efficient running back as a rookie, which we've seen a lot of rookies, once they get their chance, they have a little bit more burst, they have a little bit more speed than sometimes their counterparts that are a little bit older. And this might be a lazy take, but I honestly do believe I had Kendre Miller in my top 5 in my dynasty rankings pre-draft, and I know he didn't get the draft capital that we all wanted him to, but I still think in this New Orleans Saints offense with Derek Carr, between Derek Carr and Chris Olave, the New Orleans Saints offense has a lot to be desired. And so if they are going to be running the ball a lot and Alvin Kamara is out of the picture, or even if he plays a few games, there's going to be a role for Kendre Miller here at some point this season. He's currently going off in underdog drafts at 118. He's going a little bit higher than Tank Bigsby, which I think is just the fact that everyone thinks that Alvin Kamara is going to get suspended. But if I'm still taking this late round shot on some of these running backs, Kendre Miller and Tank Bigsby are 2 guys I'm trying to take a shot on. So go see if you're going to take a late round shot on your underdog drafts in your redraft leagues. Go see what it's going to take to get Kendre Miller. My third and final running back we're going to be taking a late round shot on is Leonard Fournette. Now, Leonard Fournette has not signed with any team. Playoff Lenny's currently a free agent. So you're probably looking at me like, Caleb, you're a freaking idiot. Why are you taking a guy that isn't even signed to a team this late? We don't even know if he's going to be out there. The thing for me with Leonard Fournette is, yes, I think he's a little bit washed. Yes, he's old, but I think he's going to land in a pretty good situation. Whether we talk about him landing in Minnesota once all this Dalvin Cook messes off and Leonard Fournette is the cheap Dalvin Cook replacement, or we're in preseason and some running back gets injured and then they reach out to sign Leonard Fournette. Like, I hate to say it to everyone watching this, like Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, and Zeke will all be on the team starting next season. It's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. Now, even if we look at last season, it was a little bit down year for Leonard Fournette. He still averaged 14.2 fantasy points per game, which put him as the RB12. And currently right now in underdog drafts, he's going at the 161. Like, he's essentially going in the second to last round of your underdog drafts, which for me is why I'm taking these late round shots on these running backs. Because let's say Leonard Fournette, let's say for instance, Leonard Fournette lands with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm not saying that's happened. Let's say something happens to Pacheco in the offseason and all of a sudden they need a running back and they sign Leonard Fournette. All of a sudden, Leonard Fournette, his ADP is going to absolutely spike. So in those late rounds, I'm definitely taking shots on Lenny, Kareem Hunt, and Zeke, but specifically, I'm taking shots on Leonard Fournette because as we can see, based on his points per game, he is a little less washed than those other 2 guys, but I think all 3 are going to get a chance. So let me know down below, who are other late round running backs you're trying to target to help you win your fantasy football leagues, and I'll get you guys on the next one. Peace.